Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John R. and I'm your instructor. Today, I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful leaf earrings. Although they don't look difficult to make, they do require multiple skills, including planning the project, sweat soldering, and planishing. One of the great features of these earrings is that the hammered surface really glitters and catches the light. This pair is made from copper, but you can make them out of silver or gold as well. I started with 22 gauge annealed copper sheet metal, and I'm using a brass stencil that I've previously made. Now you could also use stickers, plastic stencils, or even just draw something freehand. Since I have this great brass stencil, I'm using it to draw the lines onto my copper plate. You can use either a marker or a scribe to scratch in the line. If you're using a scribe, be careful not to slip and scratch the surface of your project. My next step is to cut out the shape using my jeweler saw. I carefully take my time to cut it out. After you have the shape, you might want to lightly file the edges if they have any sharp points or burrs. The next step is to carefully put the blank into my vise. Now, you don't have to tighten the vise really tight. You only have to tighten it enough to secure the piece so that you can gently push it over. You're not folding it in half. You're just pushing it about a quarter of the way over, like a real leaf. Now it's time to make the leaf stem that will eventually be bent into a loop. With the loop, I'll be able to connect this to an ear wire and make an earring, or I can use it as a pendant on a necklace. For this, I'm using 20 gauge round silver wire, which I've cut to an appropriate length. As I've mentioned in all of the Online Jewelry Academy soldering videos, for solder to flow, you must use flux. So I've fluxed the section of the wire where it will be sweat soldered to the leaf. Then I set the wire onto my charcoal block next to a row of 1 millimeter long wire pallions spaced approximately 1 millimeter apart. The soldering part of this is a little tricky. What I did was I heated the wire until the flux clarified. Then, using my solder pick, I gently rolled the wire onto the pallions. As I do this, I keep the flame moving up and down the wire so as not to melt it. As the wire and the pallions are eventually heated, we want the solder to lightly melt and flow onto the surface of the wire. You should end up with a wire that has bumps of solder somewhat unevenly spread on it. Once I've quenched the wire, you can clearly see where the solder is stuck to it. Now we want to reflux the soldered part of the wire. Remember, we're sweat soldering, so when the wire is on the leaf and everything comes to a similar temperature, the solder will flow between the wire and the leaf. Fluxing just the wire helps to control where the solder flows. In this case, it won't overflow onto the surface of the leaf. So I need to be very careful when I place the prepared wire onto the leaf. I want to get it placed properly the first time, but I can make minor adjustments if I need to. Now it's time to solder. Remember, we're soldering over a long area, and for this to work properly, I must heat everything evenly. So I go back and forth patiently with the flame until everything comes to the right temperature for the solder to flow. Notice the smooth, controlled flow. After soldering, quench the piece, pickle it, and brass brush it to get it nice and clean and remove any oxides on the surface. Next, I like to twist the wire and make a loop so that I'm able to connect it to an ear wire, or I could hang it from a bail for a necklace. But we have one final step to do, and that's planishing. Planishing is the process used by metalsmiths to smooth, toughen, and finish metal items through the use of polished hammers. On this project, I'm going to use a dapping tool that I put into my vise, and I'll be striking it with a Cross-Peen Hammer. I strike the dapping tool with a continuous machine-like hammering motion, and I move the piece into the machine. And I can move the piece in various directions to get the shapes I want. I can round some of the areas and flatten others. This gives the piece a realistic form. Continue this operation over the various parts of the piece until you achieve the look that you want. In this case, I was very happy with the result I got. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a much more detailed video on this subject titled Sweat Soldered Planished Copper Leaf Earrings, which you can find on our playlist. The Online Jewelry Academy has over 300 free instructional videos covering a wide variety of topics and projects. And we also have 3 paid classes on udemy.com. There's a basic beginning jewelry making class, one on setting all kinds of different stones, and one demonstrating how to make a beautiful hinged bracelet. You can find discount codes in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss a future release. Thanks for watching.